Welcome back to A Fine Time for Healing. I am your show host, Randi Fine. A Fine Time for Healing is a place where your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being are all that matter. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Today we have with us Justin Frandson, who is a renowned performance coach and the founder of Athleticism.com and EMFrocks.com. It's not a band, but we'll tell you what it is. With over a decade of experience in the field, Justin is a leading expert in the correct connection between health and the environment. As a performance coach, Justin became interested in the impact of environmental factors on performance after noticing that many of the athletes he treated were breaking down due to the effects of wearable technology. In response to this, he looked to nature for solutions to the man-made EMF challenge. His grounding bags, which are sold at doctor clinics across the country, are the leading natural answer for helping people coexist with EMF. And in addition to his work as a coach and author of the book, Athleticism, Whole Body and Whole Brain Performance, Justin is also a highly sought after speaker and consultant in the health and wellness community. Welcome, Justin. It's great to have you.
Randi, thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Okay, so in the intro, I said EMF. Not everybody knows what EMF is. What is it?
It's electromagnetic field or frequency, and it can be man-made or it can be native. Because our whole universe is made off of waveforms that are unpolarized. So the biggest thing is understanding the difference between what a native EMF is, which is an unpolarized waveform, versus a non-native man-made one, which would be a one-directional waveform, which all electricity has to be a one-directional waveform or it doesn't work.
So we're bombarded with this.
Work on what?
We are bombarded.
Oh, yes.
With this.
Yes.
We are bombarded with this. And so is anybody able to deal with this without any kind of side effects or consequences?
Well, Randi, right now, I feel it's the number one stressor on the planet, and it's invisible stressor. And it's really similar to a lot of your work as far as looking at what a narcissist is or all the challenges that go around with that. You have to look at their environment. Like, what was the environmental factors that brought them to that challenge in a lot of ways? And it's the same with the body. We have to understand, what is our environment? That's the first question I want to ask everyone, is like, what is our environment? Well, it's a lot of it's our air, our atmosphere around us. But we don't really equate our environment to the air around us, because you're not supposed to see air unless you live in LA or some big city where it's all polluted. But we think of it as the environment for dolphins would be the ocean. So you pollute the ocean, there's a massive oil spill, that's going to affect their environment. But when it's our air and we don't see it, and there is an invisible waveform that's polluting our air, we're not putting those two together just yet. And so that's what I'm here to share. Okay.
I would imagine cell phones are a huge part of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cell phones are the challenge with the technology that we're using is the proximity protocols that we haven't established with them. Laptops, they're told that they go right on our lap, over our ovaries and our sperm and our reproductive organs. And then you have wearable technology that go over our wrist and over our pulse points of our body. And then you have electric cars that were sitting on massive batteries, or solar in homes that cause lots of vibration and dirty electricity, and smart meters on homes, which are automated gas and electric meters. They're basically a two-way router. They act like a mini cell tower on everyone's home. We don't really establish protocols to use this stuff. We just have it close to our head as possible. throw it in our bra or in our pant pocket right next to important areas of our body that can absorb a lot of that radiation without any rhyme or reason. It's just really a conditioning effect. So the cell phones, the wearable technology, they're super challenging for us because of how close they are to us.
Yeah, I don't think we really stop to think about, how we are affected by these things. I mean, I used to live before we moved to Florida. I lived in Maryland, and we were just about a mile from a radio tower. It was like a public radio station or public TV station. That's what it was. And so many people in my neighborhood were suffering from weird things, including myself.
Wow.
So
Wow. Well,
I decided I never wanted to live near something like that again.
well, you're spot on. And let me break it down for you. There's a book called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. And it's about as thick as your book, just really detailed and with unbelievable references. The bibliography is about 150 pages. But what he does in that book is he categorizes the history of electricity and life and directly correlates every major pandemic to increased rollout of new technology. So 1918, guess what they rolled out?
What?
Radio waves. And that was during the Spanish flu. And then the next version would be the Hong Kong flu, which was satellites in the Van Allen belt, this protective layer in our atmosphere. And then World War II, radar. And everyone knows what they rolled out the last few years. This brilliant 5G marketing plan. Well, when you're polluting our environment with these invisible waveforms that are billions of waves per second, people are going to get sick. So if you're living close to a radio tower, you're broadcasting these waveforms that are different than how we're made. And so they're really challenging for a body. So arguably, I could go back and say electricity is the number one biggest stressor on the body because we have experience with it for about 200 years. Telegraph, electricity, telephone, then you go into radio waves, satellites, the wireless stuff. Like literally, we have it all documented on this timeline, and rollouts are directly correlated with more sickness and disease. There's no scratching your head on this stuff. It's not anecdotal.
That is so frightening.
Well,
and we wonder why we have such illness in our society.
yeah,
Mental and physical.
Definitely. And it all starts. So let me back up a little more. What he goes on to say in The Invisible Rainbow is that COVID is an electrical, challenge. And that's what it is. The flu is an electrical challenge. In 1889, when we introduced electricity into the homes, that's when the flu was here to stay. Before that, they called the flu because it would fly in and fly out with solar flares. So people would adapt to cosmic shifts. And that's when you'd get people would get sick because it was a shift in the pressure cosmically, solar flares. And this, our air is our environment, and waves and particles travel through it. So when there's a cosmic shift or a man-made shift, our bodies are going to adapt. Our REM patterns are going to change. Our bodies are just going to go through a process of adapting. So, but not until 1889, when we introduced electricity, was the flu here to stay. That's crazy to me.
That is crazy. And I know that there are people who have issues when there are solar flares. They don't feel well. They get completely thrown off.
Right. There's this a flow chart. One of my colleagues is named Dr. Darren Weissman. He's a doctor of chiropractic, and He's awesome. He's out of Chicago, Illinois, I believe. And he wrote a book called The Infinite Love and Gratitude. He's written several, but he created a flowchart system of how to heal through giving infinite love and gratitude. This is a sign language for I love you. And we say infinite love and gratitude with that. And we can clear any emotional challenges, say infinite love and gratitude, and put your hand over your forehead. It'll start to soften those challenges and let emotional holding patterns go away, and open flow, thumb out. Those, yeah, you had the Texas hook'em horns. You got to get the thumb out with it.
Got to get the thumb out. Okay. And then you put it
So
wherever.
that's
Love
to
and
you.
gratitude.
Yes. Yeah. And so in his flow chart, he has a section where there's waves or particles or waves, and they just specifically disrupt your REM patterns. He's flowcharted all the disconnects in the body, and one of them is from electromagnetic fields. It is phenomenal. So we can correlate all this stuff to like brilliant doctors coming up with these incredible systems to help facilitate healing.
How did you get interested in this?
Well, I was always sensitive to EMF, but I'm a performance coach. So I started athleticism.com 25 years ago, working with amateur and professional athletes. And what I saw about a decade ago is the increased rollout and this wearable technology coming closer than ever with stronger signals. And I saw athletes breaking down from it. So one of our endurance athletes, one of the strongest, fittest guys, came in. He had a smartwatch on his wrist, and his whole same arm, that left arm, went weak. And I said, hey, get that radiation off your wrist. And his arm just got better right away. Because I used to have a watch. Anyone knows me growing up, I wore a watch all the time. I played tennis. I had a watch on my wrist, but I would know that I had pain right below the watch. And I'm like, what is this? And I didn't realize that was a battery creating a vibration. That was a one directional waveform that's different than my body, but I didn't understand it. But I knew that if I talked on a phone too long to an old girlfriend, or I had a watch on my wrist, like this stuff was really destructive for my body. And the biggest thing I think was I took a job at a commercial real estate firm as a runner. And they're a huge corporate training program early on. I was in college and went through this thing. I was actually just out of college, and they stuck me at the copy machine. I was pulling copies, making copies, pulling paper off the X-ray machine. My fingertips would burn, like literally physically burn. And now 30 years later, I've developed nerve sensitivity. So I always knew I had certain components of my life where I was introduced to non-native EMFs, and my body didn't like it. And now, years later, I need to use a stylist. So every pen on my desk has a stylist on the end because it's not as painful for me to use it with a stylist. And I feel that's what we're going to see a lot of with this youth, this next generation, 30 years from now, with these kids. They're using their cell phones as security blankets, and they're texting with in squiggly lines, spelling it the connection with their electricity and our energy field with non-native. It's going to chip away at those nerves in their fingertips, and they're also going to have some nerve challenges later on.
Do you think that people, that when this, I'm sorry about that. Do you think that when people started using this, that they had any kind of idea when this technology came out, or when it exploded in modern times, that people had any idea what this was doing to humanity?
Yes, in the book, The Invisible Rainbow, Einstein and all the guys that rolled out, Tesla, all the guys that were rolling out electricity, they all got sick. They were getting diabetes. They were getting sick from the stuff. In the 1900s, late 1900s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100, 2000s, our government's done studies, and they looked at ionizing versus non-ionizing, and that was their catalyst for, or their excuse for allowing it to be rolled out. They've known what's going to happen. They've known that we were going to go in this direction the whole entire time. So they rolled out a proximity protocol. If something's ionizing, excuse me, what that means is it creates a thermal effect in your body. It oscillates the cells, raises your temperature. That is not okay from what the government says. But if something's non-ionizing, it's okay. But what we've realized, there's a doctor named Martin Paul out of Washington State University, and he's done lots of studies where low-level EMFs are just as challenging as a faster speed length. And it causes a vibration, and it's a vibration that's a challenge. So the vibration ends up disrupting our cells, and it lets positive calcium into a negative cell, which in turn causes cell and DNA damage. That specific mechanism is called a voltage-gated calcium channel. So think about that word, voltage-gated. That's a gateway for voltage, for energy to go into your mitochondria. And when that's disrupted, you're literally having mitochondria functional challenges. So that'll give you a lot of brain fog and fatigue, behavioral challenges, and then that leads to so much more.
So sitting in front of a computer is not going to be very good either. I mean, I do this, I sit all day in front of a computer.
Well, we're going to get you standing more often, and then maybe have some more natural light coming in, so it's not as much blue light going on you. But NCAA concussion protocol, so I treat a lot of concussions. I use light and sound and frequency and vibration and applied kinesiology when I work with people. But NCAA concussion protocol is no screen time. Because your blood-brain barrier gets affected. So if you're wanting to heal a contusion, basically a knock to the head where there's a trauma there, the last thing you want is an invisible stressor that causes challenges on that area. So they've regulated it more from the blue light. They haven't talked about as much as the EMF or the wireless signals going in. So right now, Randi, my computer's hardwired. My cell phone's on airplane mode. I don't have any millimeter waves in my proximity directly on me right now. So when I choose to use my cell phone, that will be the one that's closest to me, and I can keep it on. I could throw it in a Faraday bag. It'll still ring. It'll save the life of the battery. I can do a lot of things with this stuff, but every inch away from us, there's this absorption rating that it has. So right now it's about 3 feet away from me. So even if it's on, there's still a proximity protocol that I'm instilling with it. And then if I put it in my pocket, or not if, but when, because I put it in my pocket a lot, I use a mini grounding bag. And where are the minis? Minis are right here. And so the mini grounding bag, I put this in my pocket and I put the phone on the outside of it. So I'm not sure we'll get into it, but our grounding bags are one of the products that we've rolled out that we sell through doctor clinics all around the country. But the minis are great for a purse or a pocket for a guy. And it's a layer of protection between the cell phone and my body. But those are the proximity protocols that I really want to help people learn about and instill in their lives, so we can coexist with this stuff. And I know it sounds scary, or I think I scared you right out of the gate, but the one big thing is that Mother Nature designed our planet because not only the people at B knew that this stuff was dangerous, but so did our planet. But she knows how to help facilitate healing us, and that's by getting grounded and getting outside.
So tell us about these bags. I know that you sent me a kit, a basic kit. I have the big grounding bag, and I have the foil package and everything like that. What's in the grounding bag?
So Randi, everyone looks to nature to get grounded, right? You're home, you have grounding rods, they go outside, they ground all the electricity into the earth. Well, to me, that made the most sense. So I decided I have to look to the earth too to find the answer to help protect us, because that's getting grounded is the answer. So we found this certain crystal. It's called a colloid crystal. It's different than anything else out on the market. Everyone knows about shungite or black tourmaline or amethyst. They're called Tesla crystals. They have a really incredible magnetic resonance to them, and they look really pretty too. But they have this piezoelectric effect where they'll actually, when they're introduced with a frequency, they'll meet that and they'll create a coherence between us and that. Well, these ones have it like exponentially stronger than amethyst or shungite. And the reason is because they have a moisture content in the crystals as well. So we have to keep it sealed. So we hot seal it in this bag, and then we put it in a static bag, and then an beautiful outer decorative cloth bag. And that is, we double seal it to protect and preserve those crystals. So when they're in solid form, they're really effective with EMF protection. And when they turn to dust and dry out, which can be anywhere from 2 years to 10 years, you want to keep it out of the wash, keep it out of extreme heat. But these things will last for years. And what they're doing is literally, they're like walking barefoot in a bag. So it's the healing pulse of the earth in a bag. It's nature's resonance that you can bring into your home if you can't get outside.
Very cool. And excuse me, you and I are having the same thing. So the bag, you recommended sleeping with it, or having it close to your head as possible, whether on the bed or under the bed or whatever. So I've started to do that. And I also have the foil bag by my bed, so I'm putting my phone in there at night, sealing it up. Other than doing these things when we're sleeping, how do we protect ourselves when we're awake?
Well, what we want to do is understand what the stressors are first. So what I always say is, buy some meters and start pointing them at your cell phone, putting them at, plug it in the wall. You can get a Stetzer electric meter, and that'll measure dirty electricity. You can get a milligauss meter that'll measure all the electricity stuff. I mean, you don't really need a milligauss meter per se as much, because obviously anything, if it's electric, it's electric, you know it. But to test how bad the wiring is, a Stetzer electric meter is great. And then a one directional wireless meter is great as well. The wireless meters really are acoustimeters. You can point it at a cell phone, and the cell phone looks like it's quiet, it's not making any noise, but yet the meter will start screaming.
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So that's the craziest thing for a kid wanting to learn that, hey, this cell phone isn't really a security blanket, show it what it's really doing. It's always looking for connectivity. And it's always, they call them smart because they're always on, and they're always broadcasting. They're always wanting to receive and listen and track and trace and all that stuff. These things are they're unbelievably scary. And we're putting them all over our body at the closest level. So what I want to have people learn is like, hey, understand what the stressors are, and then you can measure the speed of the waveforms. All the meters do, Randy, is they measure the speed of the invisible waveform that they emit. So let's back up a sec. Let's share the speed of how we rev. Are you familiar with the brainwave states when we're sleeping, like the delta, theta? Yeah. I mean, this is a huge topic. When we're in a rest and restorative parasympathetic state, our bodies, our brainwave states, when we're sleeping, we're in a delta brainwave state to theta. That would be 1 or below 1 to about 8 hertz or waves per second. That's how low and slow the speed of the waveforms in our electromagnetic body rev at. when my athletes are in the flow state, they're in an alpha brainwave state. Excuse me, they're measuring about 8 to 12 hertz or waves per second. So the Schumann resonance of the earth, the healing pulse of the earth, is 7.83 hertz or waves per second, depending on the season. So we're really one with the resonance of the earth. We're really one with the universe. We're connected through this living collective intelligence matrix. All these waveforms that are around us, they're called scalar waves. They're unpolarized waves that distribute equally in every direction. And probably one of the most user-friendly examples of that is if I were to drop a pebble in a pond, does that waveform go in a straight line to the right or left? No, it's a circular resonance. It goes equally in every direction. That's the framework of all the resonance waveforms of every living organism on our planet, our entire universe. So when we introduce this one directional wave, it's super disruptive for our body. And just to give you the speed of it, milligauss measures at 50 to 60 waves per second. Dirty electricity is 4,000 to 100,000 waves per second approximately. The wireless signals that we're rolling out right now with the meters are meant to measure 50 million waves per second to several billion waves per second. 5G is 60 to 90 billion waves per second. Remember, we sleep at 1 to 8.
Wow.
And 5G is 60 to 90 billion waves per second of a one directional polarizing waveform. So if you add 10 zeros to someone's bank account, is that a significant difference?
Major.
Major. Well, our body feels the same. When you add 10 zeros to the speed of a one directional waveform, our bodies are like, what the heck is going on? This is so different. And then chemistry wise in our body, it creates a vibration. It takes us into sympathetic fight or flight mode. So we're not sleeping, we're not digesting, we're not able to rest. We're in fear mode. It disrupts our mitochondria, our DNA function. It directly leads to cognitive challenges and then into non-trauma concussion symptoms like bigger things, and then all the bigs, the cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular, and then lack of fertility. So, and cancer, obviously. So all these things are that chain reaction down the line. It's more of a slow cook process. We're so resilient to this stuff, but that's how it affects us. So we got to understand, let me circle back. We got to understand what the stressors are, and then create protocols with it by doing what you do now is have a grounding bag on your bed when you're sleeping. And then during the day, make sure you get outside for free and go touch a tree, get barefoot, get into a body of water, get grounded by nature. It's one of the biggest pillars of health that doctor professionals do not even address at all whatsoever. And it'll help facilitate healing and get rid of pain quicker than anything. Because when we lose the polarity in our body, when we lose our body battery doesn't get recharged from the earth or from the sun, it's really tough to heal. And then it's really tough to have energy. If your flashlight battery hasn't been recharged,
Right.
Does your flashlight work? No, it doesn't work. So it's really simple concepts.
I've been told by every holistic practitioner that I need to get out and be barefoot in the grass.
Well,
Every single
thank
one of
goodness.
them.
That's great. I mean, I want to know those people because they're until the last few years, and a lot of my messaging is getting out there. And thank goodness we sell these through holistic, doctor clinics, some MDs, mostly chiropractic and naturopathic doctor clinics around the country that understand that. But a lot of the Western medicine isn't really into this stuff. They look at symptoms,
Yep.
and then they go directly to a drug to fix that symptoms. There's no looking at root causes.
I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, and that's why I've done holistic medicine for so many years, because Western medicine doesn't address anything that I go through. And I've always been sensitive. So, I remember years ago, I being in my kitchen with my electric appliances would cause me to like have pain in my back. It actually still does, and be fatigued. So it was very difficult. So I had my acupuncturist come over and he muscle tested me near my electricity. And he's like, Randi, you're allergic to the electricity. It's taking everything out of you.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
well, I mean, you know that. So what I would say for you is, let's not have solar in our home. Let's not drive an electric car. Let's avoid ever wearing wearable technology. Yeah. So get that thing off of you. You just said it, you're allergic to it. So, these are some important things that will increase your vitality, and your energy field will start to come.
It's coming off now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I felt a whole release. That was, I mean,
Oh gosh, yes.
it's awesome because everyone gets so attached to this technology telling them how they feel or how they slept or what to do or when to do it. And that's what I want to get us away from. Get connected to God, get grounded by nature, know how you feel. Stop numbing yourself, like feel stuff and get into knowing. And if you need a baseline to say like, okay, this was a good workout, I took this many steps, and you want to track it, that's great. You do testing before and after, months later, not an everyday thing. So let's get to know how we feel and get out of this meta universe that technology industries want to get us there just to sell us product. It's not for our best interest. And there are benefits, and there are things that make things a lot easier. Like we're able to have this awesome conversation and connect like at a deeper level, and we're across the country. And now I have a new friend in Florida, and that's awesome. But like while we're using it, like let's understand some protocols with it.
So in our houses, so I have like a 3 point something thousand square foot house, 3,000 square foot house. And I don't have any television in my bedroom. The only thing I bring in is my cell phone and things like that. But how do my kitchen is electric because that's all we are offered here in this community. I do not have solar panels, and I don't drive an electric car. And I hope to not have to do that for a very long time. I say hope to because I don't know what they're going to force on us. But right. So how do we exist in our homes with all of this going on around us?
Well, there's a couple things. So first off, I have a timer switch. So in our bedrooms at night, all the electricity goes out when we're sleeping. And I have an override switch if we need to wake up early and turn it on for some reason. But at least at night, there's an outlet timer on a Wi-Fi. And if you don't want Wi-Fi and you're even more sensitive, I recommend hardwiring, get fiber optic, DSL, like it's faster, safer, it's more reliable. There's minimal health challenges, hardwiring. Safer means security wise, like you're not going to get hacked if you're hardwire your home. So hardwire, if not, have outlet timer on your router that turns on and off whenever you're not using it, and have an automatic outlet timer on your bedroom that turns off when you're sleeping so you can get your room as close to the resonance of the earth. All devices are in airplane mode. They're all charged outside of your bedroom. Avoid getting Nest AC units and Ring doorbells and Alexas and just wireless telephones those emit lots of radiation. The wireless charging stations are crazy sporadic stuff. really understand all that and then convert your smart meter to analog. I think now we can opt out of it for privacy challenges, because these stinking smart meters are they're unbelievable disruptive. Josh Del Sol did a documentary movie called Take Back Your Power. I encourage everyone to watch it. But I think for $75 in California and $10 extra a month, you can convert it back to analog. But and that was because of privacy, because they know what you're doing and using every second of the day from that. So at least they respected our privacy. So there's a lot of things you can do, and definitely never get an electric car. I mean, push back on this stuff. There's not a grid for it. 45% of the US lives in an apartment. The infrastructure is not even there for them to have solar or excuse me, to have an electric car. This is just stupid. To use the grid, to use the product doesn't make less usage on the grid. Like, this is just, it's literally the dumbest concept in the history of fads that I've ever seen. And our governor in California is probably one of the biggest morons rolling it out in a big way. But they use coal, cadmium, all precious minerals. They use fossil fuels to mine it. Then the batteries don't last very long, a decade. Then they're filling up our landfills with acid dead batteries. They don't get more efficient as you use them. They don't get lighter. In cold regions, they're half as efficient. When you sit on them, it's 18% lower testosterone, from what a colleague measured with blood analysis through special forces military, 18% lower testosterone. So if you want to take a perfectly healthy person, you can lower their testosterone 18% by putting them in a Tesla. I mean, this stuff is just crazy. So we got to get out of using electricity as our go-to. Some of the other things that we could do in our home is using incandescent lights, avoid the LED lights, make your room really connect with the circadian rhythm of the universe, where it gets dimmer and darker as it turns to night. Wear blue light blockers if you're going to watch screen time at night. And yeah, those are some simple things that you could do. But for the day, when you get grounded more often during the daytime, touch a tree, have a picnic outside, get in the sun, breathe in the minerals, drink good water for conductivity. That's how we keep our body battery. I surf a lot. I free dive. I'm in the ocean. I play beach volleyball. I'm at the beach as much as I can, walk the dog in the morning barefoot, and do it at night as well. I'm really grounding and getting the extra voltage out of my system, so that when I am in something like an electrical box, I'm more efficient.
So that's a pretty simple thing we can all do. It's a little harder in a colder environment or colder states where, winter, it's very difficult to go out barefoot.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
I'm in Florida, you're in California. That's something we can do every day.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell us about, obviously, our mental and our physical and our spiritual, they're all kind of connected. So if it's affecting our bodies, it's definitely affecting our minds, right?
Oh yeah. So one of the biggest things right now is the effect cognitively. So lack of focus, memory, anxiety, fatigue, stress, headaches, ringing in the ears, muscle twitching, bloody noses, the behavioral challenges. These are all level 1 EMF toxicity. That's what you're going to see. So we got to get this stuff out of us so we can start thinking again and not having this brain fog. It's an oxidative stress on our body, which directly goes to cognitive. And once those cognitive functions break down, then it goes into more of the bigger symptoms like vomiting, nausea, more severe, like bloody noses, ringing in the ears, the seizures, grinding your teeth. Okay. Those are going to be some of the bigger symptoms, and then obviously the bigs. So the cognitive is like literally the first pillar that we'll see.
That people often ask me, I get this question all the time, because narcissistic personality disorder abuse has become epidemic worldwide. It's
Right.
everywhere. And people are like, and I'm seeing it grow exponentially. And people are like, Randi, where has this come from? And I always say, I don't know. I thought
Right.
maybe it started with World War II, where the men came home with, PTSD, and then they
Right.
raised toxic families, and it went through the genes. That's only one kind of explanation that I can come up with, but I think you just nailed it.
Yeah. It really, it makes a lot of sense. And when our body is under this invisible stress, we're going to lash out. You see turmoil. So Bruce Lipton will talk about our health lies in our chi, and that's our energy field. Ironically, goes out about 6 feet, and not in a one direction. It's a resonance that goes out all around us. And when that gets chipped away, or we have stuck EMF in our biofield, that's going to be disruptive for us. So what we do as a self-home care protocol for anyone having these cognitive challenges, the first thing I'm going to recommend for you is to get outside and get grounded. Breathe in the fresh air, touch a tree, get into a body water. Just feel the resonance of the earth and how calm it is, and get out of the inner city, like get in nature to do that if you can. And then when you're inside, use a grounding bag. I would say tap on the grounding bag. The 4 areas that get decharged are your eyes, your teeth, your thymus, which is your upper chest, lower neck, and your intestine area below your belly button. Tap on the grounding bag. Cover those areas one at a time, about 20 seconds each while you're tapping. I mean, vigorously tap on it. It acts like a homeopathic tincture. It'll activate the molecules inside it. It'll direct those properties to recharge those areas. Then the next step for cognitive stuff, Randi, let's tap on the bag and have them cover their forehead and just breathe and ground and connect to the earth and pretend they're a strong tree with the deepest roots. And the more the wind blows, the more turmoil out there, the deeper the roots get, and the more grounded and connected they get, and the more they ebb and flow. And just keep breathing and tapping and resonating with the earth's resonance. Right away, just cognitive challenges will subside just by doing that. And you could also use the lifeline and give yourself infinite love and gratitude there as well.
And you just say that, infinite love and gratitude?
You say that, just infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude. And you could point with the other hand, point to the earth, and put one hand on your forehead and just go infinite love and gratitude. So you connect your mind to the earth.
Okay.
And those are simple tools that can help people manage this stuff. And if it's you that has a challenge, or if you're dealing with someone that has a challenge, which we all have, that's a really important thing to do, because then you could step back and be an observer and not let someone take your power away from you.
That's huge. So, I wanted to ask you, so does acupuncture help with this at all?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, because
Love it.
I get it every week, and I've been doing this for years, and it's the one thing that keeps me restored. So tell me how acupuncture works with this.
Well, you're opening up meridians and energy flow and channels. So if there's diversion of energy through your organs or through the rest of your body, your life force is just not working as efficiently. So that gets the chemistry in your body going. So complement it by getting outside in nature more, developing these proximity protocols with technology. And then you have these incredible treatments. Now you can go and get the acupuncture and then use the grounding bag, the tapping protocol. Your vitality is really going to jump up tenfold.
Okay.
In a short order by doing that. And make sure you're really feeding your body with right nutrition, chemical-free body, good water for conductivity, avoid drinking out of, this crappy tap water, and put in spring water, or even distilled water will help chelate and pull the bad stuff out and recharge the good. So there's a lot of different ways. Or you can drink structured water as well. We have water structuring devices that we use that are fantastic, and that water flows down a creek and it goes in a spiraling way, and that's called the Fibonacci sequence. Well, these water structuring devices send the water through that, and it'll off gas chlorine and fluoride and graphene, and allow that water to be like a honeycomb shape and more absorptive for your body. And that was one of the challenges with the COVID shot, is they had graphene structured like structured water in a honeycomb shape. And so it grabbed onto people and it just jacked them up, because you have, this heavy metal that your body thinks is water. Really destructive.
Wow. Boy, I'm so glad that we're talking. I'm so glad to have you on to share this information, because, I mean, Justin, I've been doing this show for over 12 years, over 500 shows. And I've never had anybody come on and talk about this. And this is so important, especially, I happen to be extremely sensitive in every way. My dentist used to call me Princess in the Pea. She's like, Randi, you could feel anything. So, so I walk around very, very sensitive to everything around me. And so it's been a challenge for me. What about when we move from one environment to another? Can that be challenging? Because I know for me, when I get out of my home environment where I'm used to it, and I put myself travel and get into a new environment, I have a very difficult time adjusting. Could that have something to do with the EMFs?
Yes, it might be stronger where you went, or getting there might have thrown you off. One of our clients, their son had diabetes, brand new childhood diabetes. So both the mom and the son were wearing monitors on the wrist. Well, the kid gets on the airplane, his blood sugar spikes 200 points. He gets a bloody nose when everyone started to use Wi-Fi.
Wow.
And then they were flying to Fiji, and 3/4 of them.
Right, that's a long flight.
It's a long flight, so everyone falls asleep then shortly thereafter. And then when half the people woke up, the kid was still sleeping, and the mom's watching it. His blood sugar goes up 100 points when he's sleeping, because half the people woke up and started using their Wi-Fi again. The kid gets a bloody nose on the airplane. And so then these in capsule airplanes, there's hundreds of people with EMF. That's billions of waves per second, 2.45 billions of waves per second times however many hundred people in a plane. That stuff's going to mess with you. So it might take a few days to get adjusted. For the people that are sensitive more, I encourage them to do that detoxing their biofield through tapping. Use Cellcore. There's a radiation detox, rad detox supplement from Cellcore. I'm speaking at their conference in Boise, Idaho in a couple weeks that you can get. You can also just go to the store and get, I would do the 3 of these, Randi. Do apple cider vinegar, protease, a proteolytic enzyme, and bentonite clay. And the 3 of those, just whatever the dosage they recommend on the bottles, a couple times a day, will help slowly flush any internal stuck nuclear radiation or radiation that might be hiding behind some heavy metals in your system. And once you clear that chemistry layer, and then you clear the biofield layer, you're not going to be as sensitive to this stuff. The people that are really toxic internally end up being more sensitive. So I'm like, okay, let's start flushing the system. Get your methylfolate, get your methylation pathways open. So you start flushing the stuff, and then developing these great protocols outside and with their bags and in your home. So you're not.
So should I travel with my bag?
Yes. Yeah.
Take it on the plane?
Yeah. Take it on the plane. When you do take it on the plane, take this bag out of these bags.
Okay.
and then just put this one on the tray by itself and then tell the guy, hey, those are crystals, and then they won't bug you. If it's left inside here, they'll stop you and bug you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel terrible when I fly. I hate flying.
Yeah, me too. I really carry 4 bags with me now in my computer bag. 4.
Four big ones.
Four full-size grounding bags. Last year I flew and I had one mini on me, and I flew with it and I got sick twice flying right after. And I'm like, I'm not doing it again. This year I've flown a bunch and I have 4 with me and I haven't gotten sick yet.
Wow, that's a lot to
So
carry.
I'm the same way. And this is a gift, Randy. The people that are more sensitive,
Mhm.
these are gifts of more heightened intuitive levels and feeling levels. And these are gifts, they're not curses. So
Right.
you're the facilitator for a reason. Like, you're out there helping millions of people deal with these challenges that are so prolific out there. It's crazy how many people have narcissism, and we just kind of write it off as, oh, they're just a blowhard or ego or whatever. But these are crazy relationships that so many people have to deal with.
Yep.
And for you to have that awareness and those skills to help them, that's a facilitator that's really connected.
Thank you.
And when we have that level of sensitivity, we got to establish some boundaries, but we have to really have safer and more strict protocols on proximity to the stressors that can chip away at us really easily.
Cool. Okay. Well, I just learned so much today, just about the work that I do, about in general, how, health, the health of the population in general, and um, what I can do to solve some of the things that the strange things that I go through on a daily basis, and the things that keep me from wanting to travel, because traveling it takes me forever to get back to myself after I fly.
Yeah.
Forever. So now I feel like I have some tools. Um, Justin, how do we get these products, these wonderful products, like the
Well,
bag, you know?
yeah. EMFrocks.com is the spot to get them, and we'll give you a link that they can go through you and get them. And but EMF Rocks, and then athleticism.com is where we have all our curated health products, our book, and MCT oil, and just some incredible products that can help with health and performance.
EMFrocks.com. Okay. All right. I'll put that up on my YouTube site.
Awesome. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so excited. It's a,
Likewise.
I mean, life has been a journey of learning one thing after another, and I've always um, leaned towards holistics and understanding, the way the body works and in concert with the environment and things like that. And because I've had to, because that's the only way that I function. But learning about this is like the last piece of the puzzle. I mean, this is huge. So I'm going to promote the show, and I'm going to tell everybody to watch it
Oh,
if
thank
they're
you.
not
You're so
watching it
sweet.
anyway. And it's been so nice to meet you. Thank you for this education.
Likewise. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate it so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Take care.